Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. Today is a day when the government-opposition standoff has worsened both outside Parliament and inside. Congress President Sonia Gandhi questioned by the Enforcement Directorate for 6 hours today and called again tomorrow, and 19 opposition MPs suspended in the Rajya Sabha. In our top headlines tonight, Congress President Sonia Gandhi questioned for 6 hours, called again tomorrow by the Enforcement Directorate. It will be a third round of questioning. Her son Rahul Gandhi sits on dharna, is detained along with other Congress MPs. The BJP says it's Sonia Grah, not Satyagrah. Government opposition standoff worsens. 19 MPs suspended in the Rajya Sabha today after 4 Lok Sabha MPs suspended yesterday. Monkeypox cases rise globally. Nearly 4,000 cases now in the USA. In Spain, over 3,000 cases. Germany, over 2,000 cases. The WHO says monkeypox doesn't only spread sexually between men. The International Monetary Fund slashes global GDP forecast by half. The IMF says the 3 largest economies, US, China and the Euro area, are stalling. Inflation expected to rise as well in all economies. The IMF also cuts India's growth estimate to 7.4%. Then there were 2 hopeful UK Prime Ministers face off in a TV debate. Rishi Sunak fights back against privileged upbringing charge. Meanwhile, Liz Truss is ahead in polls after the latest debate. Injured Neeraj Chopra is out of the Commonwealth Games. He had an injury during the World Athletic Championships, his medal on Sunday. His absence a blow to India's medal hopes at the Commonwealth. And Kargil Diwas, remembering our heroes. Our lead story tonight, well, Congress President Sonia Gandhi was questioned today for 6 hours by the Enforcement Directorate on the Young Indian deal and has been called again for questioning tomorrow. This as the ED heat on the opposition is growing. Besides what's happening in West Bengal with the Mamta's minister, today ex-Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Farooq Abdullah was also charge-sheeted. For more details, let's go across to Arvind. So, Arvind, was it expected that Congress President Sonia Gandhi would be called again today? The Congress says she's 75 years old, she's not well, yet she's being called to the Enforcement Directorate again and again.
Yeah, Sonia, in fact, Congress President Sonia Gandhi was questioned for day 2 today by the Enforcement Directorate in connection with the National Herald money laundering probe. She has been questioned today. She was questioned for almost 6 hours. On Thursday, she was questioned for almost 2 hours. So, in total, she has been already questioned for 8 hours. We did ask our sources in the Enforcement Directorate because earlier they did tell us that they are taking every cautious step in order to ensure they are also keeping in mind the fragile health of Sonia Gandhi and also her age in mind. And that's why they have taken several precautionary steps, including placing 2 doctors on standby here at the Enforcement Directorate premises, including a doctor very much present inside the interrogation room. But what we are being told is that Sonia Gandhi is also very much keen to complete this investigation as early as possible, and that's why the agency has posted the summons for tomorrow itself. In fact, earlier the agency was also planning to give a day or 2 break and then call her again. But even on Thursday, when the Enforcement Directorate told her that she can go back, she doesn't need to come on Friday, or she doesn't need to join the investigation after lunch.
No, the point you're making, what exactly is the focus of questioning today? Because the BJP, we saw the Congress sitting on a Satyagrah for Sonia Gandhi today. The BJP says that she should be treated like any other accused, that it's a serious case. The Congress denies it. What exactly is the focus of questioning today?
Today's focus was very much regarding the alleged transactions that have taken place between Associated General Limited and also Young India Limited. Also, very importantly, this particular 92 crore loan that was given by the Congress party to Associated General Limited. That's something that the agency wants to get more details, because everything has happened during when Sonia Gandhi was the president of the Congress party, because all these particular loans that are being investigated by the Enforcement Directorate took place between the period when Sonia Gandhi was the president, and that's why the agency wants to know whether as the president of the Congress party, whether she was in the know of the developments when this particular 92 crore was given by the Congress party to Associated Journal Limited, because according to our sources, that particular figure 92 is not part of any of the accounts of books of the Congress party, and that's why they wanted to know when was this particular loan given, was it given in single tranche or whether there were several such transactions, and why it's not part of the book. Those are the questions that the agency wanted to focus today, and tomorrow also the other transactions that have taken place between YIL and also AJL.
So the timing is also interesting because of course Parliament is on, so we're seeing Rahul Gandhi leading the Congress MPs protest, and also of course the disruptions over a debate on price rise. So the government opposition standoff really intensifying over this.
The Congress's Srinivas BV manhandled as he and other Congress leaders protested against Sonia Gandhi's questioning today by the Enforcement Directorate. The Delhi police cracked down at this protest at Rajpath outside Parliament, taking away all the MPs except Rahul Gandhi. Finally, detaining him as well. They were attempting to walk to Rashtrapati Bhavan to protest the alleged misuse of central agencies against opposition leaders.
सारे सांसद आए, हाँ, और उन्होंने महंगाई की बात की, हाँ, और बेरोजगारी की बात की, और ये हमें यहाँ बैठने नहीं दे रहे। ये जो पूरा सिस्टम है, ये कंट्रोल, ये पूरा पुलिस का सिस्टम है। आज अदानी जी और अंबानी जी चला रहे हैं इसको। ये सब अदानी जी, अंबानी जी की सेना है। पहचान लो।
Congress President Sonia Gandhi was questioned for over 6 hours by the Enforcement Directorate in the alleged National Herald money laundering case. Mrs. Gandhi was questioned for over 2 hours on day one of the questioning last Thursday. The detained Congress MPs were lodged at Kingsway Camp Police Station in North Delhi. They've been demanding a parliament debate on price rise, Agnipath scheme, GST on food items, national security and the falling rupee. And as Sonia Gandhi was questioned in Delhi, senior Trinamool leader, a key aide of Mamata Banerjee, Partho Chatterjee, brought back to Kolkata after an anti-money laundering court sent him to ED custody.
Central government sadhu আর রাজ্যগুলো চোর, রাজ্যগুলো আছে বলে তোমরা বেঁচে আছো। মহারাষ্ট্র তো ছেড়ে দিয়েছে লড়াই করতে পারেনি বলে। আমি এখনো মনে করি খুব বলছে মহারাষ্ট্র করেছে, এরপর ঝাড়খণ্ড করব, তারপর ছত্তিশগড় করব, তারপর বাংলা করব। আমি বলি আয়না বাংলায়।
The Trinamool Congress, which has been vocal against what it calls misuse of central agencies to target opposition parties in opposition-ruled states, has said that there will be no action against Partho Chatterjee based on what central agencies allege or leak. Any action at all will follow only after a court pronounces him guilty. The BJP brushed off the opposition's allegations that central agencies are being misused by it to target political opponents.
सही उपयोग करके सही जगह पर आज पहुंची एजेंसियां, तभी इतनी नोटों की बंडल मिल रही है। इसलिए पब्लिक साहब वोट लिए थे। 21 में जीत गए, बोले 21 करोड़ लूट लेंगे। ये अधिकार किसने दिया आपको?
After over 6 hours of questioning on day 2, Congress President Sonia Gandhi has been summoned again by Enforcement Directorate in the alleged National Herald money laundering case for questioning on Wednesday. With camera person Gauri Prasad, this is Arvind Gunasekar for NDTV.
So that's the centre versus the opposition outside Parliament. At in-Parliament, disruptions continue. Today in the Rajya Sabha, 19 MPs have been suspended.
अब आप बैठ जाए प्लीज, मिस्टर डेरिक। So I'm telling you, please go back to your seats. It is against the well-established parliamentary customs and conventions. I request you to please go back to your seats and allow the House to function. Since you are continuously disrupting the proceedings of the House and not listening to the orders of the chair, I am forced to name you.
The junior parliamentary affairs minister started to read out names the government wanted suspended for the entire week.
Mohammad Nadimul Haq, Ms. Dola Sen, Srimati Shabda Chetri, Shri Abir Ranjan Biswas, Dr. Shantanu Sen, Srimati Mausam Noor, Ms. Sushmita Dev.
We once again repeat and request that the House be allowed to function smoothly and the government will be ready to discuss any issue including price rise. on the floor of the House.
The question is that the House have taken a serious note of the misconduct of
The chairs suspended 19 of them, but for 1 week. They include Sushmita Dev, Dola Sen, among many others.
Nadimul Haq ji, MM Abdullah ji, L Yadav ji, A Rahim, Badiraju to be suspended from the services of the council for the remainder of this week under the rule 256.
We couldn't care less. Yeah, this government has suspended democracy. Modi and Shah have suspended democracy. What are you talking about MPs?
ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ 'ਚ ਐਮਪੀ ਕਿਸ ਲਈ ਚੁਣ ਕੇ ਭੇਜੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਆਮ ਆਦਮੀ ਗਰੀਬ ਆਦਮੀ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰ ਆਦਮੀ ਉਹਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਵੇ ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੋਦੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਤਾਨਾਸ਼ਾਹ ਹੁਕਮਰਾਨ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਐਮਪੀ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਤੇ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ 'ਚੋਂ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਰਿਹਾ
On Monday, 4 Congress Lok Sabha MPs were suspended for the entire session. The standoff is over the opposition demanding for a discussion on price rise, unemployment, among other issues. 19 members of parliament, the highest ever in terms of suspension in the Rajya Sabha, a new record. This has now become a new trend of suspending members of parliament in both houses on a continuous basis, clearly making the standoff between the government and the opposition worse. With camera person Pooja Arya, Sunil Prabhu, NDTV.
Well, breaking news coming in after day one of the 5G auction. There's been so far lesser than expected demand. The government expects to raise 1.5 lakh crore from this round of auctions. So far, there have been 4 rounds of auction completed today. Here's what the telecom minister had to say.
Auction में बहुत अच्छा participation हुआ है. By end of the day 4 rounds complete हुए हैं और अभी तक का जो रिस्पांस है उस रिस्पांस से लगता है कि पुराने जो हमारे रेवेन्यू के रिकॉर्ड्स रहे ऑक्शन में उससे ज़्यादा रेवेन्यू इस बार आएगा. अभी तक का अंदाज़ा है करीब 1,45,000 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू आने की संभावना है.
And the International Monetary Fund has slashed the global GDP forecast by around 50%. In their latest forecast, they say the economic outlook has grown gloomy and more uncertain. We expect the world economy to grow 3.2% in 2022 before slowing to 2.9% in 2023. The world's 3 largest economies, the IMF says, the US, China and the Euro area are stalling. Also, global inflation is rising and broadening. We anticipate inflation in advanced economies to reach 6.6% and 9.5% in emerging and developing economies. The IMF has also slashed India's financial year 23 growth forecast to 7.4% versus 8.2% earlier. Well, the latest news on monkeypox. Cases are now up globally. In fact, there are now nearly 4,000 cases in the United States. Spain is the second highest with over 3,000 cases, and Germany as well has over 2,000 cases. The WHO's Sonia Gandhi spoke to NDTV and said that it's untrue that monkeypox only spreads sexually from men to men, that there are other ways of it spreading as well.
Dr. Swaminathan, is monkeypox transmission mostly limited to sexual contact among men?
Not at all. I think we need to understand that monkeypox can spread through basically skin-to-skin contact, face-to-face, mouth-to-mouth, close contact with somebody who's infected, somebody who's got the virus in either in the skin lesions or in the mouth and nose, and it can also spread through coughing, through respiratory droplets. And so it can spread to close contacts. They don't have to be sexual contacts. Currently, the outbreak we are seeing in Europe and North America is being driven by men who have sex with men, and the fact that they have a number of partners in a close period of time has helped, I think, to this virus to take off like this in that community. But there is nothing to stop this virus from spreading in the general community, particularly within families. It can be passed from mother to child. It can also be passed while an infected person is caring for someone else. So I think it is not a disease that affects only the gay or MSM community.
An important point by the World Health Organization, Swaminathan there. But let's just go across to Karnataka, where again there's been a disgusting incident of moral policing as Bajrang Dal activists landed up outside a pub in Mangaluru. This has been condemned by the state home minister as well.
Almost a repeat of what happened at this very venue 13 years ago. Bajrang Dal activists barged into the pub around 8 p.m. on Monday, heckled students, allegedly hurled abuses and forced the youngsters to leave the premises. It was then called Amnesia, now renamed Recycle the Launch Pub. In early 2009, during the regime of B.S. Yediyurappa as the Chief Minister of Karnataka, a group of 40 activists of the Sri Ram Sene barged into this pub, which was then called Amnesia, and beat up a group of young women and men, claiming the women were violating traditional Indian values. Over the years of investigation, around 26 arrests were made and 4 were absconding, citing lack of evidence and after victims turned hostile. In 2018, a judicial magistrate acquitted 26 of the 30 persons accused in the attack, including Sri Ram Sene founder Pramod Muthalik. The latest moral policing attempt by right-wing activists is said to be in reaction to a video that went viral of 2 college students caught kissing on camera. No case has, however, been booked. In Mangaluru, Shrija for NDTV.
And is this another case of moral policing? An FIR has now been filed by the Mumbai police against actor Ranveer Singh, who did a nude photo shoot for an international magazine. We are of course not using his nude pictures, but this is also part of the same photo shoot. So this has become a huge issue. So far there's been no response from Ranveer, but let's just look at what Alia Bhatt posted in her Instagram video today. There's Ranveer dancing in the background. So far, most of Bollywood has said, well, it's Ranveer's stand, widespread negativity, and actor Arjun Kapoor has supported him, saying it's up to him what he wants to do.
It's a wrap for you. And what better song to say goodbye to you more?
So Ranveer Singh seeming unaffected there. But let's just go across now to our other big focus, and that's going to be the Commonwealth coverage and India's journey. Some bad news for India today. Rika joins us now from Birmingham. Rika, what's the latest with Neeraj Chopra going out?
Well, Sonia, it's a big blow for the Indian contingent here at the Commonwealth Games. He was meant to have travelled to Birmingham today and he would have headlined India's performance here. Neeraj Chopra was expected to defend the gold medal that he had won at the Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast, but that is not going to happen right now. During his silver medal winning feat at the World Athletics Championships, apparently after the 4th throw, he felt a strain in his groin. And as of now, what we know is a groin strain. It is not a tear. So it'll take him less time to recover. However, he will not be able to compete at the Commonwealth Games. The earliest we can expect Neeraj Chopra to return to the field is in Diamond League end of August. But so far as the rest of the Indian contingent is concerned, Sonia, there are several of them who have won the gold medal in the last edition of the Commonwealth Games and are hoping to defend it here. Let me tell you a few key things about this games. This is the first time that a Commonwealth Games has 19 events, which makes it the largest ever. Also, the first time women will have more events than the men. So large number of women will have an opportunity of winning medals at Birmingham. Over 1.2 million tickets have been sold.
Thanks,
so
Rika.
it's going to be quite a
We'll
spectacle.
Of course, and we'll be tracking all the Indian athletes with you there in Birmingham. Thanks so much for that update. And of course, we wish Neeraj Chopra a speedy recovery. But also, the other action happening in the United Kingdom is, of course, the final lap of who will be the next British Prime Minister. So, a TV debate now between the two hopefuls, Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss, as Rishi went all family, but Liz Truss took many a dig at what she called his privileged upbringing. The latest polls show that Liz Truss is still ahead after that debate.
Family means everything to me. This is what Rishi Sunak said as his wife made her debut appearance at a rally with their two daughters, Krishna and Anushka, in Margaret Thatcher's hometown.
You brought it up before as well, so let me just address it. Look, my parents were part of an immigrant family that came here. They didn't start with very much, but they worked day and night, saved and sacrificed to provide a better future for their 3 children. And I am nothing but enormously grateful for everything that they did for me. And I'm certainly not going to apologise for the fact that they worked hard and they aspire to do that for their kids. And in fact, as I said before, those values, those conservative values about hard work and aspiration and building a better future for your children, that's why I want to be Prime Minister, that's why I want to do for other people, and that's the values that we should champion in this country.
This as the battle to become the UK's next Prime Minister descended into fierce clashes, as Rishi Sunak launched repeated attacks on the economic policies of Liz Truss in their first head-to-head TV debate.
Your own economic advisor has said that your plans would mean that interest rates would have to go up to around 7%. So just think what that means for all of your mortgages. Everyone watching.
Whether it's the trade deals I've struck at trade, whether what I've done at the Foreign Office, putting the toughest sanctions on Russia of any country, I get things done in government and I don't just talk, I act.
This morning, newspapers in the UK revealed a fascinating picture of the party's divisions. Some front pages are strongly in favour of the Foreign Secretary Liz Truss, with Sunak struggling to shake off his image as the man who knifed the outgoing Prime Minister. But Rishi Sunak does need to make up ground if the polls are to be believed. The key battleground and the biggest dividing line between the two is still tax. With inflation at a 40-year high, economic policy has become the main battleground in this contest. Even though Rishi Sunak says he admires Liz Truss, he accused his rival last night of wanting a short-term sugar high, which would be followed by an economic crash. Parmeshwar Bawa for NDTV.
Thanks for that, Parmeshwar. And today also marks the 23rd anniversary of India's victory in Kargil, Vijay Diwas. Today, as the nation remembers, we look at some of the heroes who gave their lives for India in the Kargil war.
My company's success was ye dil mange more. The guys were so highly charged up that they're wanting that some more bunkers should have been there and we would have got the more chaps.
He was the bravest of the brave, whose slogan Ye Dil Mange More defined the spirit of some of India's bravest sons. Soldiers who fought some of the most intense infantry battles since the Second World War. For his bravery, Vikram Batra was honoured with the Paramveer Chakra. At the height of the Kargil war, the NDTV team met the young captain just days before he perished, fighting to liberate the impossible point 4875 in the Kargil heights. Just days earlier, Captain Vikram Batra and his men had liberated point 5140. His men knew him as Sher Shah, and the enemy had heard of this name as well. This is what he told us before that final mission.
It was like that in case we would have stopped at any point of time, we knew that we would have been the pinpoint target for them. Either we would have been there or they would have been there.